let me do the stream. It just takes a moment.
Okay.
Yes, Abby. Such a good job.
Ready to go whenever you are.
Call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public participation.
Council, nothing directly associated with the senior center. One thing that did come up from the council meeting was road safety, roads and paving projects getting done. Our town manager said he would get back to us about progress and certain things that were in works. And one thing that's on the town website and has been forwarded to us, actually some people heard about on Facebook, is Robbins Avenue is being paved in whatever's being done to improve this. They're going through the whole process. So I would say if you want to wait or be surprised to avoid Robbins as much as possible. But nothing directly connected to the city. Let's brought up think of something directly related.
Councilor Rada, anything to add to, I don't know if you could hear us, but anything to add to a council?
I could not hear very well, but I'm sure that Councilor Nagel was thorough, and if anything else comes up, I'll chime in.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Nobody else is online, so.
Right, we had beautiful meeting minutes. It's been a while since we've had them and they're terrific. I read them. I didn't see anything that needed to be changed. Anyone else? No. Okay. Just want to welcome Elizabeth Rogers. We're so happy to have you.
Can we take a motion to approve the minutes?
We don't have to.
Okay.
At least that's what I was told. We don't need a motion to approve the minutes, do we?
We usually do.
Okay.
It's a matter of record.
Yeah, because they happened and there is a record.
On the council, it's either yay or nay. And you don't vote by person.
Understood.
Just to approve them. And we ask, are there any corrections like you do? But
Okay.
that's
Each commission does it a little differently. Very well.
If you'd like us to, I mean, we can, it just takes a second. Okay. All right, we have staff report.
Okay. I sound like a broken record when I say it was a busy month. If I ever come in here and say, it's kind of slow, then you know something's up. So we had a very busy September. This evening, we're happy to have our social worker, Terry Snyder, with us, and we'll get to her in just a moment. But in terms of what we did in September, September is always National Senior Center Month across the country. And the National Council on Aging always comes up with a theme for Senior Center Month. And this year's theme was Discover Yours. So if anybody who's on Facebook has seen, that basically means that older adults are encouraged to visit their local senior centers and learn about what they can discover, whether it be new skills, new hobbies, new friends, a new sense of community. There's something for everybody to discover. So we celebrated Discover Yours by asking members to share what they have discovered at the Newington Senior and Disabled Center. So a bunch of people, a bunch of members replied, and we took their replies and we made a bulletin board, which I just took down today. I should have waited another day, but we had to put up Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we move along. And And we were able to share their stories of what they've discovered. And we also selected some of those stories to share on Facebook throughout the month. You might have seen the Facebook posts. So I think it was a success. It got a conversation going about the types of things that we have to offer here, and that you can discover whatever you're interested in, whatever you need, you can discover something here. So I passed out, you should all have, we selected, like I said, some of the stories to publish on Facebook. So those are some of the submissions. I just gathered them together and printed them out for you to read. It's kind of interesting because everybody had a bit of a different reply. It's interesting to read what people have found that they love here at the center. So I think that was a really nice month. It was successful. And maybe it'll lead to a larger discussion, moving forward. Our other big thing in September was the public safety picnic, which, if you're not familiar, we sell tickets for $5 just to cover our costs. But we have the public safety departments, the police department, fire marshal's office, fire department, and NEMS, EMS come in, and they grill hot dogs and hamburgers for the members. And then they'll sit down and eat and chat with the members, during lunch. And then they do a presentation on public safety. It's always a huge success, but this year was for some reason bigger than ever. I think we had 95 members, which, I mean, we had to be careful not to hit the capacity of the room, with the fire marshal present. So we had 95 members. We had the police department came back in big numbers. They had not been able to participate for the past few years due to their just schedule conflicts, but they had several officers and administrators from the police department here. We had the fire marshal's office was instrumental. DJ, fire marshal was instrumental in helping Barbara plan it. And he was here with a lot of information. We had a couple members of the fire department and a couple of folks from NEMS, from EMS, all attend. Parks department delivered a huge grill. So it was actually a breezy, chilly day before the little heat wave we had. So they grilled out, we kind of put it on the side of the wall outside of the auditorium so they could be shielded from the weather. And they grilled the hot dogs and hamburgers, and the presentation was done by the police department. Officer Aviano did a presentation about scams that are common for older folks and how to avoid common financial and not so common financial scams. So it was a great program, very well attended. So hopefully maybe next year it'll be even bigger and better. It always, and then the fire department did a presentation as well about fire safety in your home, basics such as checking your fire extinguishers to make sure they're not expired, checking your fire alarms and that. But a thing that's great about that is the question and answer session always brings up really good things that maybe we hadn't thought of, and we have the experts on hand to be able to answer their questions. So that was a very successful program. As usual, our program coordinator, Barbara, hit it out of the park with her programming. We've had to expand our newsletter like another page because she has so much listed. We couldn't squish it all in. So we had numerous craft classes, which are always a hit. We had an Italian themed chef demo. We had a chef who works for Middle Woods of Newington come in and prepare some pasta, which, I mean, those are always very, very popular. We did some pot painting, terracotta pots. We had a presentation on falls prevention, which is something we do almost every month at this point. The AARP driver safety course returned. That is something that we're really going to start doing probably, every other month or so because it's in high demand. We did a trivia contest, an ice cream social. I ran the trivia contest, which was really, really fun. It was summer themed trivia, but I think more people were there for the ice cream than anything else. We resumed our WISE program, which, if you're not familiar with it, is an intergenerational program, which it just started again. They did one of the 3 sessions last month where older adults sign up for the program and they meet up with Central Connecticut College students, either psychology or gerontology students in a class. And they do 3 classes together. One of them is held at the campus at Central, and we provide rides, a dial-a-ride, and then the students come here for 2, and they talk about all sorts of topics. So it's a wonderful program. I feel like I'm forgetting something. We started a walking competition against other towns. It's not the Central Connecticut Health District competition. This one is sponsored by Avery Heights, which is a local senior housing complex. And so we are up against Newington, we're up against Rocky Hill, West Hartford, Weathersfield, and East Hartford senior centers for a friendly 8-week walking competition. So you'll see the scoreboard outside. And just a lot of things, a lot of great things that are happening in the center. Any questions on our September? We'll talk more about building stuff and everything when we get to it. Oh, I always forget this part. Let's see, the coffee shop, I'll give you our balances. Coffee shop has $16,226. The gift shop has $49,252 available. They reopened in September after taking their couple week hiatus. So if you want to check out the gift shop, it's open Monday through Friday from 10 to 1. Cash only, but has fantastic little decor, and if you like jewelry, accessories, you have some gifts to give coming up. It's a great place to check out. Very few things are over $5, so it's a great price point. The membership account is $64,616. Fitness membership $22,725, and our donations account has $47,739.
What's the total?
$200,558. Which again, we rely on these accounts to supplement our municipal budget, which is almost entirely salaries, of course, so for the folks who run the place, but we have some other supplemental things. So these are really important revenue streams for us to be able to offer programs.
Terry, you're on.
Okay,
So Terry,
well, for anybody that doesn't know me, I have a couple people here. My name is Terry Snyder. I am the social worker here at the Senior Center. There are some social workers across the street at the Department of Human Services as well. The age group that I work with generally is 60 and older. And I do have a couple of people that may be between 55 and 60 who, due to mobility issues, and it's easier to get into our building, I do work with occasionally. So there's a lot of things that I do, but I put kind of like the major things that I do each month down here. Interviewing for and just determinations for people for different things, for especially basic needs. So, you know, screening for eligibility for programs like for food, for financial assistance, for medical programs, for Medicare savings programs, Title 19, the Connecticut Home Care for Elders program, housing, and lots and lots of housing questions, and transportation services. So I screen for eligibility for the programs that we offer here, that we offer through the state of Connecticut, and sometimes make referrals to other agencies. For so say Department of Human Services for the food closet, or the state of Department's DSS social services for their programs, possibly, you know, Medicare or Social Security for some of their programs. I do a lot of outreach. I do home visits. I visit the frail elderly for the Meals on Wheels program, for just check on people, to do outreach to them, to see if make sure they're well, so welfare checks. And I occasionally do have to make a referral to the protective services. I do choices counseling. We're going to be in full steam ahead for the enrollment period, which starts on October 15th and ends on December 7th, for anybody that wants to look at their insurance for Medicare, their Part D plans, their supplement plans, their any kind of healthcare coverage through Medicare. That's a busy time for us. Very busy. I have to do record keeping, unfortunately, like we all do. I maintain case records. I do statistics for Jamie, and for Medicare, because the Choices program gets their funding. Because of the stats that we provide Medicare, the North Central Area Agency on Aging, they report it, and that's how they get their funding. So when we work with someone and help them do, do Medicare planning or change their plan or even review their plans, they need to know that this is important work that we do. So we do the stats and we send it over to them. Meals on Wheels is a big part of what I do. I do intake for the Meals on Wheels program. I also help Barb, our coordinator, who does a great job, as a backup for her if she's not here, or if she needs any assistance, not only the Meals on Wheels program, but the congregate meal program as well. And then I update and maintain the Information and Referral Center, which is located a few doors down. It has a huge amount of information on almost every topic you can think of, from financial, advocacy, housing, energy assistance, transportation, federal programs, state programs, veterans programs. Am I leaving anything out, Shane? Anything that we can think of that we can put in the referral center. And it's always needs updating because things change constantly. So it's open to anyone, seniors, their families, their caregivers, other people in the community, and from 9 o'clock till 4. So the last thing I do, not only the last thing I do, but is I do a lot of liaison with, I work with Human Services. We all do the same thing. They do 0 to 100 because there's a really large population of elderly in our community. One social worker could not manage it all, so they're very helpful with doing 60 plus, but they also work with the children's and families. So we have a close relationship between us, and we do what we can to get resources and just make sure that everybody gets what they need in town. So that's kind of what I do. The second page I gave you is in regards to the Information Referral Center. I didn't know if you were curious how many calls that we get, regarding information and referral. It's basically between 100 and 150 per month. And this is these are the top 5 things that I was thinking about. What are the calls come in for? And the first one is housing, senior housing. Around town, they're building a lot of housing, but it's not just senior housing, 55 plus housing, which is CFHA housing. There's a lot of seniors that are looking to leave their homes and go into senior housing or affordable housing. So we get calls every single day on housing issues. Also, people ask about nursing home care and rest homes, what's available. The second, I think, most important question would be for food. Food was never really in the top 5 until recently. Due to the expense of food, we're getting many more calls about the Meals on Wheels program, the congregate meal program, which we serve a meal Monday through Friday here at the senior center. A lot more people wanting to do SNAP applications or food stamps. And a lot of questions about, can I use the food closet, which of course is located across the street as part of the Department of Human Services. So we field calls for all of that. The next one would be Medicare. I guess this time of year, people want to know, what's out there for supplements, for their Part D plans. What are the Medicare Advantage plans offering? Because that's on TV all the time. And a lot of new to Medicare calls. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I sign up? What's next for me? The next one would be transportation. We've been working on transportation quite a bit. Of course, we have the Dial Ride program, which is a wonderful service. We also are lucky to have a grant that gives us an out-of-town medical transportation program for I don't know how many towns it is. It's like 7 or 8
Eight towns and 8
Eight
area
towns,
towns.
surrounding towns. We can bring seniors to their medical appointments. A lot of questions about the ADA paratransit, which is part of Hartford Transit, Connecticut Transit for persons with disabilities, and also private transportation, which there's not a lot of out there, but if we find one, we pass it along to people. The last thing would be special needs funding. There's some funding out there for women, for the Jefferson House has a Good Samaritan Fund for seniors 60 and older. There are free bed funds. Newington has a charity fund. So sometimes we get calls for those kind of funding to try to fill the gaps for people to pay for things, and also some of the grant programs that are out there for seniors. So it's a lot, but we get her done. So
In addition, you're always helping Jamie out, or the person at the front
that's true.
desk.
Yes,
I always-
Karen. Oh, I also have a really small but really helpful equipment room, medical equipment room, which has grown. A lot of the equipment, lending closets have closed. The one at the hospital for special care is not, they're not going to open it. So we try to, and I think I've seen a lot of people in there lately looking for walkers, wheelchairs, shower chairs, commodes. So we do our best to provide these items for people. They're expensive. They're not always covered by insurance. So we can do. You certainly can. And I would be absolutely thrilled for any donations. We make sure that they're in working order. We clean them as best we can, and we do not charge. So a lot of the towns charge. We do not. And we don't ask for things to be returned unless they're wheelchairs, because, there's a lot of very generous people in Newington that donate. So.
And it's a great thing because nothing in the bathroom is covered by Medicare.
Seriously, I don't know why that would be, but you're true. You're so right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we're a small staff, so we all pitch in, we all answer the phones, we all deliver Meals on Wheels if we have to. We all set up tables, we do what we can.
Terry makes popcorn and coffee. She's really good
I
at
do
both.
popcorn. I don't know where I got that.
You just inherited it and you're never getting rid of it. So Terry is one of the longest term employees in the town of Newington. She's one of the longest serving municipal employees. Yeah, did you know that? She's one of the longest serving. So in addition to being obviously immensely knowledgeable, she's also relentlessly organized, as you can see, and just does a fantastic job for everything. Everything she mentioned, all the social work, just hundreds of calls each week. She's one person serving a population of about 11,000 people in Newington who would qualify for her by age for the services. Yep. She works closely with human services. She helps us out with whatever we need. She does telephone bingo. I mean, if you want to play bingo and you can't come into the center, she does telephone bingo on Tuesday afternoons. She's fantastic, and we're very lucky to have her. Anybody have any questions for Terry?
Oh, it's Terry Snyder. It's SNYER.
So
I have cards. So if you would like one, I also put some information on the table about the Choices program. That's the state insurance program. They trained me, back in 2005. And if anyone might have questions about their insurance and maybe they don't live in Newington, that's a great resource. So I thought I'd put some out just in case anybody knows something. Yes, ma'am.
What is the free beds fund?
Most of the hospitals, if you have a bill and your income is low, or you have a lot of bills to pay, they usually have forms like the St. Francis as well as Hartford Hospital and New Britain General, which is now owned by Hartford Healthcare. They have free bed funds. You can fill out the application, and if they'll look at it, and if the criteria is met, they will either like they'll say you don't have to pay any of the bill, or possibly they'll, you know, you only have to pay a portion of the bill. Yeah. The Yukon Charity Fund is mostly for the Yukon Dental Clinic. They have forms for that as well. Where dental's a big hole in Medicare coverage, so you know, get a lot of that.
Great, we're lucky to have you. And I always love coming and speaking with you. Always so nice.
Now that we have Barb, I don't do as much matter of balance classes, but we have some. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And Terry actually has an intern from CCSU right now too, who just started, so she's sharing her wisdom and knowledge, and he's doing a fantastic job as well. So all good things. Yeah, so again, I hope over the next course of the next couple meetings to bring in a staff member at each meeting to share, you know, what they do. Talked to Barbara last month, and Terry, we'll see who we can get next month. So you can kind of get a full picture of what's going on.
Karen in here.
We have to get Karen here while we can, I know. So Karen Helper is the benefits coordinator, and maybe I'll see if she can come next month prior to her upcoming retirement. So, excellent.
I was thinking, Jamie, maybe what I can do is give you a case study for whenever you want it and save it for.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Terry's saying that maybe we might want to share, at some point now, right now, for purposes of this meeting, just a case study with all the identifying info, so you can kind of understand what a typical case for Terry may be. We can get that out to you. Yeah.
What we do.
A real life example without any kind of info to identify the folks involved.
I bet you have some real interesting ones. I
Yes,
used to do
ma'am.
home care, so I know what's out there.
Yeah.
And,
Challenging for sure.
Yep. Okay, we're up to old business, budget update, anything?
Budget season starts this month or early next month, really. So we'll be right back to it.
Talking about the
Never-
last.
It never ends.
Door counter, anything new?
Yes and no. It's on hold for right now.
Oh,
Which isn't to say we're not going to do the door counters, because they may still be our best option, but we are looking more at security in this building as a whole, including potentially door counters, but other security features as well. So we're had a couple of initial conversations with that, and we're looking at, you know, what we can do to kind of get a study or somebody in here to take a look at everything. And we will kind of roll that all together. So I'll keep you posted on that. And in the meantime, if we do have any movement on the door counters, I'll let you know as well.
okay, so we could actually take it out
If
anyway,
if you want to.
you know, unless there's something you want to
I
add.
can do it as part of our staff report if it, you know, comes up in a future agenda.
But looking at security is a good idea. Let's see, any other old business, anyone?
Which is the, where you mentioned security, but I understand they finally got outdoor lights on the building next door. Because there weren't any, and the people came home late. It was dark, and so we get concerns about that.
That's the senior housing?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yes,
Who requested that? Was that us?
I don't know.
No.
The
The
presidents, I'm sure.
Oh,
I know some was there and working on.
good. Well, it's not only for safety, but, well, it's safety, but if you can't, right, exactly.
This is
You want to prevent that, because when you're older and you fall, it's very hard to get better. So and it affects everything. So don't get me started on that. Okay, we have new business, upcoming activities.
So this really isn't upcoming. You have another document in front of you. I had it in my head that it was going to be published this month, but they published it earlier, so it's not upcoming anymore. But the Newington Life reporter, Mark Johnny, came in and he spent some time in our giving garden a couple weeks back, and he interviewed the volunteers, Helena Thompson, Linda McDonald, and a couple of other volunteers to get an update as to what's going on in the garden. And it was published this week. So you have the article in front of you. what's been great, I mean, I talk about the Giving Garden every meeting, but they really did overcome a lot of the issues that we talked about over the summer, including the damage by animals. We had a talented pest control person who finally figured out what it was and actually spent his own time building a specific trap for these rabbits and got them and relocated them. And so again, it's layers of protection, but that certainly helped a lot as well.
So we
So-
approved some fencing.
Yep,
or
that's
is it-
part of
is
it too. Yep, that was part of it. Yep,
helpful?
that was helpful as well. So I think all those things together, unfortunately, it took a good part of the summer to get it, but now we know for next year. But the article is really nice. The article appeared in the most recent edition. I found it when it was delivered to my house. And they talked about how it helps people with food insecurity. They benefit the food bank, all things that, of course, we talk about here. But it turned out kind of inadvertently being an intergenerational program this year, because a local family that had come to town started volunteering, and it's a mom and her sons. So they're pictured there on the last page. So they've been very helpful. The kids are back in school, but the mom is still helping out quite a bit. So it's a nice article. Take a look when you have a chance. It's informative, and it really shows the hard work that goes on in our backyard. So again, not upcoming, sorry, but just need to look at. The big upcoming event is the expo. We talked about it at the last meeting. It's full steam ahead with our 2023 expo. We believe it's the 25th year. Some years have been skipped here and there, but that's what we're going with. It is going to be, so I say it's going to be bigger and better than ever this year. It's November 16th, Thursday. It is free for people to attend. It's open to the public. And it's from 10 to 1. We have a shuttle that runs in the loop from here to the municipal parking lot by the shoes, Fazio shoe. And it just kind of runs in a loop for the duration, so you don't have to worry about parking. We are still taking vendors. We're almost full. We're probably going to have upwards of 50 vendors by the time we
How
are
many?
upward of 50, maybe 55 vendors. We currently, so far, have 7 gold sponsors. I don't think we've ever had that many before. Avery Heights, Connecticut Tech Act Project, Hospital for Special Care, Raymond Senior Planning, Senior Insurance Services, and the Retreat Assisted Living are our gold sponsors so far. But we have vendors coming in from all walks of healthy aging. So they're going to be exhibits, free screenings, giveaways. We have assisted living and nursing homes, older adult housing, medical providers, physical therapy, financial advisors, Medicare advisors, nutrition. Trying to think of what else. I should have brought the list with me. AARP is going to be there for safe drivers. Yep, several town departments. The police department's going to be at the library. Some of our smaller departments here, such as our TOPS group, which is taking off Pound Sensibly. We have somebody coming in representing medical marijuana to provide information about that. Healthcare services, financial planning, long-term planning, final, expenses tech planning. So pretty much everything you need. And it's a fun day. Besides going around and gathering up so much information, we will have prizes and giveaways. We are working on doing demonstrations, which we haven't done before. So there'll be like scheduled demonstrations throughout the day, and you can stop into you could take a break from touring the vendors and stop into the multi-purpose room and take in a demonstration and maybe have a snack. So we're looking forward to it. So the staff is working very hard on planning this, and I'll have, I guess, another update for you next month before it happens. Also coming, yes, it is, because we actually cancel lunch that day. It's one of the only days of the year we cancel our congregate lunch because we take up like so much of the building. But we find that it's super busy at 10 o'clock, but by noon, it's pretty well cleared out. I think everybody comes in the morning and does their thing. Yeah, if we extended it, I don't think it would do any good.
Or make it 2 days with that.
Possibly, but again, we're giving up our whole building for that, and we'd have to have the vendors come in for 2 days too. So, but it's, if we had capacity problems, like where we had to turn people away because like the building was full or something like that, then we might consider it. But I think it works like it is now. We actually have people coming in early, wanting to get in the door early, but since the vendors don't want to show up at the crack of dawn, we do ask people to wait until 10 o'clock. So yeah, we also have other things coming up. We have a Mexican food cooking demo. We're on a roll of cooking demos. We have the WISE program is going to continue. We did have a meet and greet with Congressman Larson, but his schedule changed, so we're gonna have to reschedule that. We have an interesting program about Tai Chi sound healing, which is a mindfulness activity that that could help with relaxation and meditation. We have somebody coming in to talk about senior living options, which is always an important topic. Healthcare update. We are bringing back our cut the cord, and everybody always asks, "What's cut the cord?" It is not having your adult kids like stop. That's what like half of the group thought it was. It is actually cutting the cable cord. So learning how to live without cable. Healthy lifestyle tips for a fit brain. We have the one I'm doing, the iPhone accessibility features. If you have an iPhone, there are tons of accessibility features that can make your life easier. And you just have to know how to unlock them in your phone. So I'm going to do a presentation on that. And just coming up a little more in November, which we could talk about a little more next month, we are going to have another safe driving course, as I mentioned, but we are doing, because it's early in the month, I'm going to mention it now, an AARP car fit program, which is in our parking lot outside on a Saturday. I think Barbara talked about it last month. You could sign up for it, and experts will take a look at your car and make sure that you fit properly in your car and that you don't need to adjust your seat or adjust your mirrors, or maybe get some adaptability devices to make sure that you're driving safely. And that is, in a nutshell, what we have coming up in October and part of November.
Okay.
I know, I talked
Yeah.
fast.
The coloring group is going to paint.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention it. There's lots of craft classes are big here, and it's
plug in.
yeah for Terry. Because if Terry doesn't have enough on her plate, she does a craft class twice a month, where people can come in and they can either it's social. You can either color if you want to maybe do an adult coloring book, or you can do a craft, and there's coffee and donuts, and Terry finds an hour or two out of her week to do that.
So that's like a sip and paint.
Kind of. We have sip and paint classes a couple times a year that are sponsored by Middlewoods, because they have an artist on staff who works for them, but she's artistic, and she will actually create just like if you were to go out to like a paint night, like a group night, she'll come up with the paint and she'll sketch it out on the canvas, and people will paint it in, and they can make it their own and have donuts and coffee. But this is more of like an open, like drop in, do a crafts, chat, listen to music. All of the craft classes have really become that, and they've become very popular. It's all about sharing and talking and exchanging.
Social.
Yeah, it's social. Exchanging photos, taking pictures of your work, it's really cool.
Building update.
Yep. The solar project is complete. The window project, I think I told you in the last meeting, September 11th was the date it was to begin. The facilities department continues to do an outstanding job of advocating for us and keeping things on track, but there, I guess, is a delay due to supplies, just like everything else, supply chain. So you don't see any remediation or building starting yet, but we are seeing them come and measure windows, and they took down some trim, and so they're doing what they can ahead of time to try to minimize the delay. And we're just waiting. That's all it is. Other than that, the building is looking good. The garden is still growing. We're still harvesting tomatoes. I don't know if that's normal or not. Yeah, it's warm and it's rainy, but I don't ever remember them still like baskets of tomatoes. So typically this time of year, we would be shutting the garden down for the winter, and nope, they're still out there. So that's good. I mean, why not? We had, of course, it has rained relentlessly for the past several months, I think. And we've had a couple of roof leaks. I just think they're just due to the rain overwhelming the drainage system. Each time Facilities has responded immediately to take care of it. And
so they didn't find anything wrong.
Nothing wrong. It's just like, I don't know, a lot of people you might have heard, like friends or family or yourself, saying my basement flooded, and it doesn't usually flood. It's just too much water. But they take care of it each and every time. And I guess they're going to be turning off the air conditioning and turning on the heat next week, because it's going to cool down. You wouldn't believe it today, but it does get really chilly in this building. Being a brick building overnight, it gets cold. So we definitely don't want it to be too cold. So even if we're just using the heat here and there at first, it's good to have.
Do we have, consideration of upcoming purchases?
I don't have a specific one tonight. I have a potential one for you to consider for an upcoming meeting. We have two pieces of exercise equipment in the exercise room that are not, they are nearing the end of their useful life. And in fact, we got an email after Barbara determined they were nearing the end of their useful life that they're not going to be maintained by the manufacturer, who would come in yearly or annually or whatever and grease them and adjust them and everything else. They are new step recumbent machines. So that means you sit down. So it's like, you can actually use your arms or your arms or your legs. They're like ellipticals or pedalers, but you sit instead of stand. So they're great for people who have balance issues or, strength, or, they just prefer to sit when they exercise. They work, they're safe, but they are coming to the end of when they'll be. So we were looking to replace them. They are not cheap. They're about $4,500 a piece. So before I ask you to replace them, I am modifying our ARPA funding proposal to see if they would cover them. And then I don't have to worry about taking it out of our budget. So I'll keep you posted. We'll see how that goes. But those are important machines. It'll likely be a budgetary item coming up for our annual budget, our 2024-25 budget. But obviously that's not approved for several, till July or April for July. So we want to get them in sooner. I'll look at other sources of funding before I bring it to you.
What is the, amount for capital? Do you know?
At 25,000.
So
Yeah.
they could actually be on the capital.
No, 25,000. These
Oh,
are fees, yeah,
25,000.
25,000 and 5 years and $25,000.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So nothing specific this week or this month.
Okay. Next meeting is
I'm just looking at-
November 1st.
That does not work for you, right?
I won't be here, but I don't know if anyone else will be in
November 1st?
Indonesia.
November 1st. Let me check with Kathy.
So I can zoom in. It's a 12-hour time difference. So
You're too dedicated.
well, I've done it before from out of the country. So, but if you need me, let me know and I will.
I will do what I do. I'll send out an email. I'll try to contact Kathy, see what her plans are to return. We need 4 for a quorum. So in order to avoid you to have a 6 a.m. call, we'll see what we can do.
And Kathy, one of our commission members, had some knee surgery, I believe. And I was wondering if we could have a motion to send her some flowers. Did someone? Oh, yeah.
I will take care of it.
Anything else under new business? You always have something good. That's good.
I could mention one thing, is that I have a friend that has a wheelchair and needs to go to facility and transportation, you would know. If there's any other kind of way for transportation, if she takes regular transportation or dial right, it's not Newington, so. She has to have someone push her out of their house to get to the van. Have you heard anything else?
She doesn't here.
No, gentlemen.
88 Paratransit is a door-to-door service.
Oh, okay. You
But
have to get
out
out.
the door, I think you have to just like, does she have a ramp?
No, she's flat.
She's in a senior house and she can get to her doorway. I think they can take her from there. I can give you a flyer for them. It's relatively inexpensive.
Okay, anything else under new business? No? Okay, public participation? Have anything, Kim, for us?
I'll put on my Friends Advisory Board hat and say that I want to thank in advance the Senior Disabled Center for providing the space for our October book sale, which will be the 28th, 29th, and 30th of this month. So as always, we look forward to that. I don't know, Counselor Nagel, I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to think back from the last council meeting. We have another council meeting coming up on Tuesday. So at the next meeting, there may be more that we can provide to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for zooming in.
Well, this is perfect because I go from one meeting to the other, so it's easier for me. But at some point, I promise that I will be in the room.
I'd love to meet you.
All right, that I will make that happen.
Counselor Nagel, anything? No.
No.
Okay.
Nobody else is on the call.
Okay. So may I have a motion to adjourn? Someone? Mark, second? Okay. Oh, a vote? All in favor of adjourning? Okay.